Want to turn your passion for drawing into a full-time career? Discover our courses at Brushcamp where you become a master in the realm of digital painting. Brushcamp offers tons of similar courses in illustration, 2D, 3D design. Level up your creativity with free knowledge and courses. Visit brushcamp.com today and explore endless possibilities.
Welcome back to Sketching course. Today we will learn Lesson 5, Mushrooms and Stumps. This is a plant topic. The reason I want you to learn a lot about plants is that it has many organic shapes, which helps you learn how to draw them smoothly. We will come to the topic of mushrooms and stumps. You have to homework. Those are drawing mushroom and stump. I will show you how to draw mushrooms and stumps. These pictures are available in the homework folder. You can choose another picture, but they have to be detailed like this, and not study the images of other artists. I hope you don't post pictures you finished drawing for commercial purpose or other purposes, because this is just an exercise. If you want to post these pictures, please write down that this is not a picture you came up with, but your case study. This helps avoid copyright issues, but the final assignment of this course is your own idea, so you can post it anywhere. Or you can make a portfolio to apply for a job. Do not personalize the pictures. You learn to draw from lesson 1 up to now. Those are just images you use to learn to draw. I have listed several types of mushrooms. Mushrooms are very diverse in color, shape. In this course we only need to care about its shape. I think this mushroom appeared in a famous game called Mario. You choose one of these mushrooms and sketch it. Do not draw over it and must have a structure table. I will show you how to draw a complete mushroom. And this time we don't trace it like the previous lesson. Our goal is to create something. Without having to trace or study someone else's picture, we must first draw the structure. I'll choose one of these mushrooms. Some foreign textbooks draw this mushroom quite a lot. I'll choose another mushroom. I choose this. If you use Windows 10, you can take a screenshot by this way. Press Windows plus Shift plus S. Select the area you want to take screenshot. Then press Ctrl plus V. We already have a screenshot like this. Turn off the old picture. We don't reduce the opacity of the pattern, but leave it on the side and then draw along. Think about its shape. Build structure. Create new layer. Press Ctrl plus Shift plus N. Keep learning continuously to make sure you don't forget old knowledge, and it will become a habit. I reduce the light of the background to avoid eye strain. When learning to draw, you do not need to name the layer. But when drawing for work, you should name the layer clearly. But I think this sharing is suitable for the next courses. Let's choose a brush and analyze this mushroom. Reduce opacity. This is a pyramid. It's shaped like this. This is a 3-point perspective, a worm-shaped perspective. This is horizon. I hope you can draw a picture with a 3-point perspective. It will have more perspectives. But it has a bit hard. This is part of its structure. There is a small peak at the top. It's connect together like this. This is the structure of the mushroom. It's easier to draw when you have structure. For example, if the structure is a rectangular box, it is easier to imagine the corners. That's why when drawing complex things, people often refer to geometry. Sometimes it has no geometry. Create new layer. As you can see, this is a pyramid shape. Now I'll draw it from a different angle. I also ask that you do not draw over and too much like the picture. And you have to draw from a different angle. You can choose the horizontal angle. Horizontal angle is the easiest. I draw the stem of the mushroom first. It will have a height like this. It's going to lean a little this way, so that we can see the inside of the mushroom. I estimate the width of the mushroom. And it turns like this. Draw the pyramid of the mushroom. Its shape is the same as we have analyzed. When it is lying on its side in this direction, it will be the same above. Mushroom stems are easier to draw. We've got a mushroom in the horizontal corner, and it's leaning backwards. Reduce opacity. Draw over the structure we just drew, and look at the picture on the left side in detail. You don't have to draw 100%. Draw it so we can identify the mushroom by sight. Choose the accordant brush. As you can see, this mushroom is lumpy. We draw like this. The important thing is the shape. You don't need to draw 100% of the details. The shape of the mushroom is very important. Base on the structure line to draw. Here too. This mushroom has a tilt to the back. If you can describe objects in detail, your sketch will look like a comic book. Like Dragon Ball, many kinds of comics use this type of drawing. It helps us visualize that object easily. I can draw a more curvy mushroom body. Draw both sides of the mushroom body equidistant from the center of gravity. The further down, the bigger the mushroom body. Hold down the Shift key to draw a straight line. When doing the exercise, please choose another mushroom. Don't redraw this mushroom because your creativity will decrease. It has lines inside. Once you master drawing lines, it will be easier for you to do the final exercise. And you can easily do advanced exercises in other courses. Add a dark area to the mushroom. Turn off the layer of the structure. It's rough on the stem of the mushroom. I erased the thorns of the stem. You draw thorns consistently. Because the stem of the mushroom is rough. Then we will add highlights and shadows. I choose the light direction on this side. Remember to note the light on the sketch. Avoid uniform light all over the object. If the light is on the right side, then the shadow is on the left side. You draw it like this. Darkness is on the left side. Because it doesn't receive light. And the further to the left, the darker the darkness decreases. There will still be some parts on the right side that don't receive light. This angle you can paint it dark. It will create quite a bad effect. You make it darker. Since it doesn't receive light, it gets darker. You zoom in on the screen with the Z. In this step, using a large brush will make it easier to draw. If you don't want to draw the line like this, you can make it bigger. To make the picture look cleaner. I drew this mushroom a bit small. When the light shines down, the stem of the mushroom will darken. Like this. The mushroom's body is covered a lot. Increase the brush size. Draw the shadows gently. You can choose another brush. Soft brush. I use brush number 19. It's available in the app. I'll use this brush. Delete these two lines. Create new layer. Choose brush number 19. Choose a light darker than the background. Shade the mushroom trunk with black. It makes shadowing easier. Then you will not have to draw lines. It will reduce your learning ability. In some cases, you can use this method as an alternative. I think you can use this when creating the basic block in the last exercise. This is also the part that does not receive light. Painting gently. Here is a basic sketch of a mushroom. We can also create shadows here. You can choose brush number 30. Brush head is smaller than brush number 19, but it has the same usage. Make shadow here. We have a sketch of a mushroom. I don't know the name of this mushroom. If you note its name, it will look more scientific. If you draw in the sketchbook, you should draw the contour line first. Then use watercolor. I'm not accustomed to using watercolors, but they can help with shading. Drawing it into D makes it easier for you to draw. You can know how clear the direction of the light is, and it has no ambient light, and only one fixed light. It will be easier to draw. Here is an example of how to draw mushrooms. But don't make shadow generation in this way. Don't forget to make shadow with lines. The more you draw, the more beautiful it will be. Shading like this is not the things I want to teach too much in this course. You will learn more in the advanced course. It's a color scheme and illustrating course. Next, I will draw with a tree stump. The second exercise. We have a lot of stumps. They have the common feature that they are all broken or all cut. The reason why you have to draw a tree stump is your final assignment is a combination of many things. And it will be a combination of many knowledge that I have taught you. You can use soft brushes, hard brushes, some contouring brushes, and most importantly, how to stylize the look, which I will show you guys after this session. I will choose one stump. This is one of the objects in nature. You can find other tree stumps besides these. Remember to choose only the stump, not the whole trunk. I choose this stump. It looks interesting. There are many details to draw. You can also redraw this, but in a different stylized way. Turn off image files. I will draw bigger. Our brush is not too sharp. Its essence is like crayons. So it's not too sharp. If you draw it small, it will be affected. Remember to draw it bigger. You can see, this is a picture of two-point perspective. Let's analyze it. Use red color. This stump is in the open air. It appears in a plane with two-point perspective. When we connect them together, we have 2 points here. And the object is below the horizon. I think this is the horizon. So I can see the top side of that object. You can see that? The stump is below the horizon, so we can see the top of it. After analyzing, you will see this stump is a round cylinder. After analyzing, we see this is a cylinder. We will draw it on the horizontal plane. We will draw the stump based on this structure. We will draw it in the form of two-point perspective. You can choose the capacitors far away to look almost parallel to each other. This stump has many shapes, so we don't need to draw it correctly. This line is the ground. We'll draw it a little rough. To make it look more natural, I will draw the cylinder. You can press the M key and it will make a square, while pressing Shift plus M will make it a circle. We leave it here. Right-click, click stroke. Select thickness and press OK. I prefer to draw by hand. This is the structure of the stump. This is the side. This is also the other side, but it's hidden. So we won't be able to see the inside. We draw a dash for the invisible part. It will have two sides like this. Lower the opacity and start drawing details. Try to draw from a different perspective, so that you can think about the points of view of the object. It helps you practice more. Choose the right brush size. You will be able to draw it easily once you have the structure. Let's draw the side first. The side will be on the side like this. Draw as similar as possible. This is a rather complicated stump. The more similar you draw, the better. It's very difficult to draw every detail of this stump. You should stylize it. Reduce the number of details. Here, for example, you can see it's very grainy. It's very time-consuming when we draw in such detail. You can draw it simply like this. When we draw an illustration, we will simplify it, but still create the characteristics of that subject. You can simply draw like this. It's a way to reduce the detail of an object. I already have the structure here. Start drawing. Define the lines. Here it is cracked. You draw it in a simple way so that you can create a tree that is closest to the template. The cracks all have their own thickness. You can see that they are all thick. When drawing, we must determine its thickness. Here too. A tree stump with lots of natural shapes. It looks so beautiful. This part is located in a dark corner, so it's hard to see the details. But we still see its roughness. You should identify the side of the piece of wood. It is very beneficial. I find the remaining stumps easier to draw. You notice that when I draw like this, it will create a curve. It helps to reflect the direction of the object. I will draw in this direction. Please don't draw straight like this. It will look weird. Because in space, objects would curve like this. The more downwards it faces, the more it will curve. I draw the side. This place is too detailed. You can reduce those details. Even omit it. I will draw like this. This inner part can be joined together by more intricate lines. You can lower the opacity of this picture and draw again. It helps to improve your drawing ability. This part is concave, so I drew it darker. As you can see, we can't see the back of the stump. You draw as naturally as possible. Just looking at it, people will know it's a tree stump. Draw more cracks, so that when we look at it, we understand how a tree is structured. When we draw a tree stump, we will have more knowledge about shapes in nature. Give thickness to these pieces of wood. This time we will choose the direction of light here or here. I'm used to identifying the light source on the right. Turn off the layer of the structure. I started to draw details for the stump. This is the part that doesn't receive light, so it must be very dark. You can darken it. This part too. As we can see in the sample, this part is very dark. You can draw lines vertically to increase the thickness. Here is also the dark area. This exercise is a bit like sketching. If you draw with this pen, it will be like drawing comics. It will be sharper. If you want, I will also guide you. But let's contour first. To create thickness for each piece of wood, as you can see, it has a shadow at the bottom. This place will be dark due to the lack of light. You can contour by lines. So how to draw a tree stump with hard brush? I will guide you to draw in comic style. And here is the sketch style. This tree stump is quite complicated. If you draw in a comic style, there will be more ways to handle it. Reduce its opacity. I will draw one more time on this sketch. Create new layer. And use hard brush. Set the size enough to draw. We just focus on working with it. reduce the size. I draw with hard brush. This brush looks more clearly. But it won't be as artistic as the first brush. This time we draw more quickly. More clearly. I draw everything clearly. Please observe. When doing the exercise, you can choose one of two ways. To draw lines, I recommend you draw with the brush I use first, and then reduce its opacity, then draw like what I'm doing. You will learn more from it. If you start to draw with this brush, it become hard to handle, because this brush make your line becomes not soft. It's harder for me to process the strokes. It will be difficult for us to recognize mistakes. I'll draw lightly on this crack, because it is the side and it is quite thin. You don't need to steadily draw all the lines. You can draw heavily on this border, like this. I'll edit it a bit here. This is the most complicated tree stump that I sent you. You can use lines to draw tree veins for vertical trees, and those trees don't crack like this. This tree stump will have veins like this. We have a cleaner sketch. It looks like this. And how to make it look more like a comic. That's choosing the darkest corners and paint it black. You can see these are the angles the light can't reach. It will be black like this. I see some artists fill in the parts that don't get light in full black. But I won't do that, because this is the light source, so the shadow will fall this way. And you can color the bottom part in black. Color it black. But we won't fill it up, it won't be all black. I paint it like this. Just paint a little on the bottom, because it's in contact with the ground. You keep painting like this. Color a little here. This is the part that receives the least light, so we'll paint it darkest. Don't forget to paint in these areas. It will make your pictures more beautiful. I will create more rough areas at the bottom. Sometimes you can zoom in to see its effect. If it's not right, we'll do it again. It's not shameful that we experiment. Just keep experimenting. This side will have a lot of shadows. A little darkness here. And here. This part is definitely dark. But if you paint it all dark, it won't look good. It makes our painting dark. We just paint a little. You create another layer. This layer is below the layer you are drawing. Choose a color darker than the background color. You select it. Erase the extraneous details. Make sure this layer has only the stump. You use the W key and the Magic Wand tool. Select Magic Wand tool. It will show a line around the base of the tree. It surrounded the whole picture. It's because of the setting of the magic wand. Look here. That is sample all layers. You uncheck that part, then click again. Press Ctrl+D, then press again. It will just surround the stump. Press Ctrl+D to turn off the selection. It will disappear. Click here and it will come back. This is the selection tool. If you click outside, it will have a border around the base of the tree on the outside. After you make your selections, what you draw will not affect the base of the tree. I will select the selection inside so that when I draw it, without smudging outside, press Ctrl+Shift+I. The selection has been changed. Fill the entire tree stump with Alt+Delete. As you see, the tree has been colored by this color. The color I chose is gray. Lock this layer by the lock icon or the on the keyboard. Then the layer will show the locked icon. Now you can color freely. You can choose hard brush. Choose a darker color. Choose a color based on the color of the original stump. Make it darker. We can understand that light shines from above. So the tree will have dark areas, light areas. It's darker and darker. This is the dark part. You can paint it down below. A base color layer. Now I will add the shadow layer. Fill in here. It will be darker inside. So is the side. You guys don't add darkness here. Light shines in here and it can't show darkness. If you master this step, your final exercise will be better. I only ask you to draw lines. If you can do this step, your picture will be more beautiful, and you can learn illustration course easily. I will make this dark area darker. You choose a darker color. You can color it in gray if you want. But only white, black, gray, no other colors. It is a mandatory requirement of this course, because you may get chroma errors and wrong about the purpose of learning. And you will get a mistake when using color. This part has no light, so it's very dark. I use 3 levels of light. To describe this stump, zoom in this stump. You press Alt to get the color in the selection. Like this. The color sucking function only works when you use the brush tool. I will fix some details. It will be more convenient to use watercolor. You can draw a few more details. It creates textures for objects. I'll paint a little more dark like this. You can highlight the light receiving part like this. But don't focus too much on drawing light and dark colors. I'm just introducing you guys. You guys use this method in case it is too difficult. To create a shadow with a line, we don't use this method. As you see, we have a log with light areas, dark areas, and tones. I just ask you to create lines layer. Shading like this is up to you if you want it or not. I just gave a brief introduction. Your final assignment will be better with this part. This is a sketch of a tree stump. It is sketched from the image on the left side. I just finished 2 exercises. This is also your homework. Your homework is to draw 2 objects. The mushroom that is in these pictures, and the tree stump according to the pictures I showed. Or you can find other pictures, but the content must be the same as the pictures I showed. You can't choose the mushroom I drew. Choose another mushroom and describe it with lines. You can use dark colors to describe the light and shadow of the object. But remember that the most important things are lines and stylization. The block generation part doesn't matter, because we haven't learned about it yet. You only learn about shapes and drawing lines. You can use any brush to draw. If you choose a hard brush, your painting will look like this. If you use a pencil brush, your painting will look like this. I like the wax brush better. You can see that it's quite cartoon-like. And it's like a picture you draw on paper. It looks better than the tree stump. And many painters often use this brush. You draw each small object, then draw experience and ways to handle it. You can later complete works like this. After completing all the courses, you can draw products like this after taking 2 to 3 courses. This is a painting by the author Forest Diver. I saw this picture at ArtStation. The author drew a log with mushrooms, leaves and colored it. I think coloring is your favorite part. I will teach coloring in the advanced course. In this course, you only learn how to use lines. When your stylization gets better, you can draw like this. It doesn't need to be too grainy, but still beautiful enough. It often appears in games, illustrations. The lesson is here to end. Remember to open the folder I sent to do your homework. Thank you.
Please like and subscribe to our channel.